Hello YouTube, welcome back to another before and after. So today we'll be looking at Happy Death Day 2, aka the sequel to Happy Death Day, which is just making me hope even more that the third movie will actually be called Happy Death Day Dear 3, because, like continuing the song pattern, and 3 kind of sounds like tree, so just replace I just want to hear it be called that, okay? I just think that would be a good title. And honestly, I just really want these movies to just sort of have the whole lyrics to the birthday song. It would just kind of be a great coincidence to me. But yeah, I am looking forward to this one a lot. I really enjoyed the first one because, well, it was actually a fun slasher. It's something that we haven't had in a mainstream sense in a while. We do still get them, it's just they're in a more indie scene, which was always kind of disappointing to me because there are a whole lot of really great horror comedy slashers out there still. It's just no one really watches them anymore, which is really sad to me. Seriously, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, Tragedy Girls, You Might Be the Killer, Detention. There are a lot of really great ones out there, but hardly anyone talks about them, which is so disappointing to me. Seriously, there are some really, really great horror comedy slashers out there that people just aren't watching because, I don't know, they're just not mainstream enough, I think, and that's really disappointing to me. So I'm really glad that this film has sort of given some of those a bit more attention, and I really did hope that that's sort of what would happen with this one. I really hope that would kind of, create a bit more of an audience for, well, horror comedies and slasher comedies in general, because that seems to be a subgenre that has been, well, kind of neglected in recent years. Okay, there are still some that we will get, like I said, but for the most part, the ones that seem to be doing well are very, very serious and depressing, and honestly, I'm getting a bit bored of that. I don't know, I think I think that there are a lot of really great serious slasher movies coming out nowadays, but I would really like to see some more comedy ones mixed in there, and I'm very disappointed that we haven't gotten much of that. Like I said, we still do, it's just not in a major sense. I don't expect any of these movies to sort of win awards or anything, but I don't know, it just sort of seems like all the attention is being given to the serious slasher movies and not, some fun ones, and to me, that's kind of a shame. Horror is still, at its basis, something that is supposed to help you overcome fear, and what's a better way to do that than having fun with an idea? And honestly, I'm really just sort of disappointed that we haven't had many of that, but still, it's stuff like this getting a sequel that really just sort of gives me some hope that we might get some more of those someday, because I really do enjoy this subgenre. If anything, slashers are my favorite subgenre because, well, they're my favorite genre in horror, and horror is my favorite genre in general, so yeah, I really do enjoy the slasher genre, and yeah, okay, it's formulaic, and yes, there are a lot of repetitive ones, but it's still something that's really enjoyable, and when done right, it can be a really awesome experience. But there are still some rather basic ones that seem to take up the subgenre because, well, slashers are fairly cheap to make, so yeah. I don't know, to me it's just a really fun subgenre that can also be very serious and interesting when it wants to be. Seriously, go check out the original Prom Night. That's actually a very fascinating watch, and I really enjoy it for that. I don't know, it's sort of what makes the slasher in that movie really stand out to me, because we totally understand his motivation, and it's stuff like that that I really like about this genre, because while there are a lot of duds in it, there are some really great ones that honestly make searching through all the crappy ones worth it. So, yeah, I really do kind of want to see slashers come back in a sense, and I'm glad that we have things like this kind of doing that. Yeah, okay, there are some other slashers that I would I mean, yeah, okay, there's some other modern slashers that I would much rather prefer seeing getting a sequel. Seriously, Rise of Leslie Vernon, please let it happen before The Mask. When's it gonna happen? I know that's a comic book already, but I really want to see the movie. Seriously, that's been in development for a long time. Is it ever gonna happen? I really want to see it. But yeah, also Leslie Vernon is a great movie. Seriously, you guys need to watch it. But yeah, back onto the point of this video. Yeah, Happy Death Day too. So, yeah, okay. Like I said, I'm already excited about seeing a slasher getting a sequel like this because it's been a long time since we had something like this, but I'm also really excited as to what they'll do with it because there were some things that in the first movie were kind of weird. Like the way that the time loop was handled in particular, there was a lot of mystery surrounding it, and I get that's the point with a lot of time loop sort of things, like, in particular, the most famous one, Groundhog's Day, which, yeah, I mean, like, that one's just all about some time loop that just happens just to make a guy nice. That's kind of it, and yeah, that's really the only reason why that's happening to him, and it seems to follow that pattern, but still it raises the question as to why is this time loop happening at all, and why does the slasher seem to know about it while also not know about it? Yeah, it's kind of weird to me. There's like, I don't know, did anyone else notice this? Like, in the first movie, the killer constantly changes their MO, but there's no real reason to. Like, Laurie should have no reason to change what she's doing and make these really elaborate kills just because, I don't know, Tree went somewhere else. Like, oh, she went down this alleyway instead of this one. Oh, crap, well, now I gotta rearrange this music box setup. Like, I don't know, to me it just seems like she put a lot of thought into one kill and then just decided, oh, well, she went down a different path, let me try something else. Okay, well, cupcake car explosion, that's what I gotta do now. Yeah, I don't know why I'm changing it up so much, I just want to. I mean, like, it seemed, at least with her first kill, that she was trying to do it in a bit of a subtle way. I mean, she did in an area where Tree was alone, and she just sort of killed her with a knife. It wasn't loud or anything, but then car explosion and killing a police officer. I mean, seriously, she took this a bit far at a certain point, but still, I don't know, it's stuff like that that kind of made me question what was going on, and I think that they're going to play with that a little bit more here, as right now, it's not only Tree that's the main target, and it's everyone, but also the killer is different. So, yay, that means Laurie's coming back. Woo! We know so much about her. Am I the only one who didn't really like Laurie? I mean, she was just really boring to me. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, spoiler, she's the killer, and, like, I mean, it's fairly interesting that we never really get to care about her motivation because, well, yeah, Tree never noticed it either. She hasn't really even acknowledged what she did to her that caused this, and to be fair, Laurie did kind of overreact to all this, but still, I don't know, she just never really seemed like that interesting of a character to me. Even when she was being nice and everything, that just sort of seemed to be all there was to her. So, I am interested in seeing some side characters like her, you know, Carter's roommate and stuff like that. Sort of seeing them getting a little bit more attention here as they are now being brought into all this. I also really hope that they, you know, remember what's being told to them by Tree instead of having to have the time loop explanation over and over and over again. As, yeah, okay, I don't mind that in the first movie, but at this point, yeah, okay, we got it. Time loop thing, okay? Can we just... I just really hope that, like, you know, if they die, like, if the person dies, like, if one of Tree's friends dies, then they remember what was told to them. That's just what I really hope happens, so then we can sort of cut out the explanation stuff, and there'd still be a reason for it. You know, they got involved in the thing, therefore they remember it. I don't know, to me it'd just be the right way to go about it, but, Yeah, so it does seem kind of interesting to me how they're going to go about this. They're also going to be involving the time loop thing a little bit more from what it looks like, as there seems to be a time machine sort of thing in it, and also we see Carter's roommate, whose name I will never remember because he's not useful in the first movie, and he's only really in, you know, like 2 scenes that aren't on replay constantly, so yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of it with him. So, like, yeah, we also have, like, a moment where he's, like, looking at himself and knocked out. And I don't know, I'm just really interested in seeing where they go with that and, like, just how far they push the time travel stuff. Because it looks really interesting to me. So, yeah, that's kind of it. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I mean, there are some things that I don't really think are there are some things that I think could be a problem with it, but from what I've heard, it is actually a pretty good sequel, so I am actually really looking forward to seeing just how well it's executed and just seeing in general what they do with this, because I'm very excited to see a modern slasher actually get continued, and I don't know, I really do hope that Babyface becomes one of the more popular ones. That's sort of something that I've hoped ever since the first movie, and I really do hope that that does end up happening, because I would really love to have a slasher from my generation that I saw from the very beginning. I don't know, to me that would just be really awesome to have, and yeah, I'm just sort of really looking forward to seeing what happens with this character and with this franchise overall. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the before part, and I'll see you guys in the after part. Alright, so I have now gone back from saying Happy Death Day to you, and I pretty much guessed everything wrong about what that movie was gonna be like. Yay! But, I mean, it was still fun, so, yeah. I also went on a 5-minute tangent about slasher movies, so I apologize for that, but I also do not guarantee that I won't do it again. So, this one is about Ryan. Everyone remembers him, right? Okay, so yeah. Ryan is actually Carter's roommate in his dorm. So he's the guy who burst into the dorm technically twice, but if we count all the other timelines, then you know a whole bunch of times. So yeah. He's that guy. Everyone was wondering, and now we know. Also, apparently he's into science. I would have never gotten that from his character in the first movie, but there it is. And I really do actually like this because it gives us a chance to actually explore a whole lot more side characters and just a whole entire different side of this campus, which I really like. I mean, it's really cool that we get to see more of a character who technically only had 2 scenes in the first movie, which mostly consists of like 2 sentences. So yeah, we get to learn a whole lot more about characters like that in this, or even ones that we hadn't seen before, like his science friends, and I think that's really cool. So yeah, this movie really does take advantage of the fact that it's a sequel, so we get to go more into, well, the characters and just sort of the world that we're inhabiting in this series. I think that's really awesome. So yeah, it turns out that he's getting targeted by a killer, so he turns to the one person that can help him. Carter! I don't know why. I don't know why he turns to Carter. I guess that they're just really good friends or something. I don't know. Seriously, what's even his major? We'll never find out what his major is, will we? That's gotta be one of life's great mysteries. Why were we put on Earth? Is there a God? What is the purpose of life? What is Carter's major in college? These are the things that we really just gotta find out someday. But, yeah, so we turn to him, and yeah, Carter doesn't really have any information on that because his character is really, really bland. However, Tree was also in the room and is like, yeah, no, I know all about this, I can help you with this. So, yeah, they form a plan to find out who the killer is, and this part's a bit hard to surmise because if I mention who the killer is, then that's technically a spoiler, but I also can't get into what actually happens in this movie, in the second portion of it, if I don't, so yeah, let's just go into this. Turns out that Ryan's killer is Ryan. Yep. It's actually him from another dimension. So yeah, it turns out that Ryan actually made the whole time loop thing by accident, and also on accident, he also made a gateway into another dimension. Okay, this feels very coincidental, but okay. So, when they try to send other Ryan back, Tree instead gets sent back, and for some odd reason in the other dimension, it's 1 day late. I have no idea why, it just is. Seriously, how did that happen? It's the day after the time loop day in their dimension, but in the other dimension, it's a day late, and it's the time loop day. I don't get how that worked, but whatever. So Tree pretty much goes right to Ryan and all of them because, well, I mean, they're the ones who know about the time loop and stuff. They're the ones who made the machine, so they can probably send her back. But she finds out that she might not really want to go back because there are some things that she lost in her dimension that she gets back here. So it's pretty much the rest of the movie is her fighting off a killer or just dying over and over, and also deciding whether or not she wants to stay here or go back to her own dimension. So this movie takes the core premise from the first one and utilizes it to sort of the same extent, but also embellishes on it. Now we're finally told why there was a time loop in the first place, and I am so glad about that. We get to really, this franchise sort of went into more of a sci-fi direction with this one, and I think that's kind of cool. So now it's sort of like a comedy, slasher, science fiction movie, and it's really cool in that regard. If anything, I think that actually does what the first movie did a little bit better. It sort of seems like they sort of took a little bit more time to actually explain what's going on, and we get to go into some more of the side characters, or just the characters in general that aren't Tree a little bit more. Now characters like Danielle or Lori get a whole lot more character development than we saw them get in the first movie, which I really like, and that's something that I think is really cool that it takes advantage of with this one. However, it's a bit hard to talk about what's really going on with the characters in this movie, unless if we go into spoilers. So, some of my thoughts on this movie before that, I think that it did everything from the first movie, but pretty much did a little bit better. It expounded on the ideas. We now get to know a whole lot more about what was really going on, but we also get to learn a little bit more about the characters that went through it, and we get to see a little bit more of an established universe to this, which I think is really cool, especially in the end credits. Seriously, guys, stick around. There's a tease for a third movie, and I'm just gonna say it, I'm really excited about that, so please let it happen. So probably my biggest problem with this is that the horror aspect gets kind of forgotten about, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, it wasn't the main focus of the first movie, it was more, comedy with a touch of drama into it, but it was still there. Now it just sort of feels like something that's a minor inconvenience, or at the very least after the first half, as it does seem like they actually are going to follow the slasher route in the beginning, but once Tree goes to another dimension, that sort of becomes inconsequential, and I'm kind of disappointed about that, but I'm also interested in seeing where they're going to go with this, especially given the end credits. Like, this could really just turn into a complete sci-fi series at this point, which I wouldn't be against, but I also would be a little bit disappointed about because, I don't know, I feel like the fact that it is a slasher kind of made it a little bit unique in how it went about everything. It sort of just took everything from the slasher formula and did in a completely unique way, and something that was totally its own, which I thought was something that was really cool about it. So I guess I will just have to wait and see which route the third one decides to take, but if this one's any indication, its straying from the horror route might not necessarily be a bad thing. So if you are a fan of the first one, or just horror comedies in general, I highly recommend this one, as it pretty much takes a lot of things that made the first movie work and utilizes them a whole lot more and in slightly more interesting ways. So yeah, with that, let's get into spoilers. So for the spoiler section, we'll mostly be looking at characters. So let's start off with the most generic one out of the whole movie, the dean of the college. He is pretty much like any other dean cliche character from that era where college movies were a really big thing, which, I mean, to be fair, we got some pretty good ones. So, yeah, he's pretty much every single cliche version of that. However, there's also kind of this underlying joke that he's kind of a wimp and a dork, and I mean, it's fine, but I feel like that sort of joke went out of fashion a long time ago, but I mean, at the very least, they were still living up to some cliches, which is kind of fun. So then, let's get into Samar and Audria. They are Ryan's science buddies. They're there mostly just to explain what this time machine, portal machine is, and that's kind of it. I mean, like, they act like they had some sort of character in this, but they really don't. They're just sort of nerdy and cliche, and to be fair, I can totally see them going into these characters more, as it does feel like there's a whole lot that we just don't know about them. Like, it feels like they do have character that distinguishes them from that cliche. We just don't really know it yet. So, yeah, they just weren't really interesting to me, but, I mean, they're not hateable or anything, so that's something. Then we got David. Yeah, I'm just going through all the useless ones right now. I literally have a list, so I'm just like, which one's useless on here? So yeah, David, he is Tree's dad. He had more character in the first movie. So, yeah, in this one, he's, happily married and living his life. Fine. There's nothing really wrong with him right now. So, yeah. He's nice. I mean, that's something. There's not that much else I can really say about him. He's fine, but we got way more into his character in the first movie. I guess staying with the parent theme here, we got Julie, and that would be Tree's mother. So, yeah, she actually does get a whole lot more to do in this movie because, well, she's alive. Yeah, in the first movie, she was dead, but in this one, in the other dimension, she's alive, and we actually get to spend some more time with her, and she's also a very nice person, but we can tell there's a bit more of a sassy side to her, which I think is really cool. She's a likable character, and I can tell why Tree missed her so much. She's a likable and good person, and you can tell sort of what impact losing her had on Tree, but also what getting her back means to her. My only problem with Julie is that she seems to be more of a plot device in both movies, as in the first one she was more character motivation, and now here she's sort of more Tree's reason to stay. Outside of Julie, there's no other real reason, as not much has really changed in this other dimension outside of some people are nicer, and outside of that, there's no real other reason, so she's mostly the main reason of conflict. So I would have liked for her to have actually been a little bit more of a fleshed out character, but still, as is, she's fine. Then we got Greg and Stephanie Butler. They are revealed to be the killers in this one, which, I mean, to be fair, two killers can work, so, yeah. And, they're fine. They're still as interesting as they were in the first movie, and if you remember them, good on you, because I totally forgot about them when I rewatched the first movie in preparation for this one, because they're really forgettable, honestly. They're a big plot point in the first movie, but they're not really that interesting of a character. Greg is a sleazy doctor that is cheating on his wife, and Stephanie is his wife. There's nothing really to Stephanie, unfortunately, so yeah, we don't really get to know that much about her. But, yeah, Greg is, he's still a jerk, so that's something. Yeah, I mean, I honestly enjoyed him more evil. I don't know. There's just something about him that was a little bit more charismatic when he's just revealed to be a total douche. I just sort of found that to be a little bit more fun about him. But yeah, other than that, there's not that much to him. Then we got Danielle. She's nice in this one, which is really weird, I guess. Well, she's kind of nice. On the one hand, in this version, in the other dimension, she's actually a really good humanitarian and actually cares a whole lot about people and just tries to be the best person that she can be. On the other hand, she cheated on Carter. On the other hand, Carter is really generic and boring, so I can kind of get that. But still, I mean, like, I would have actually preferred it if Danielle was just straight out a good person in this one. I mean, yeah, I get why they did this, but still, I would have preferred it a little bit more if Danielle was just actually a really nice person, and that could have been way more in contrast with her usual character, which is just sort of, you know, the mean girl on campus, whereas in this one, she's actually a really good person, and I like seeing more of a good person side to her, as well as a want to pursue an acting career. It sort of gave her more ambition, and a little bit more of an interesting angle to her, which I thought was really nice. Then we got Carter. Carter's boring, okay, there, I'm just gonna say it, he's a really boring character. Oh, wait, there's something I forgot with Danielle. She's apparently going to be important in the next movie as she's the one stuck in the time loop, which is awesome. So yeah, we will probably be getting to see a whole lot more character development from her, which is really nice. But, also I'm interested there's even going to be a killer after her in the next one. I mean, to be fair, she is kind of a jerk, so I mean, like, you know, people could totally target her, but still, I'm wondering if anyone's gonna really even go that far to go and be a killer. So, yeah, anyway, back on to Carter. He is really boring still. I mean, honestly, I didn't find him that interesting in the first movie, hence why I was really certain that he was the killer for most of it. He was just so generic and boring that I really just thought that he was just putting on a nice guy routine, but turned out that he wasn't. He was actually just a nice guy. Shame on me for thinking that people can't be nice, I guess, but still, his character is just so boring, and they don't even really expand on him that much in this movie. So I just sort of found him to be really boring, honestly. I mean, there's a bit more conflict with his character, as he can't decide if he's more for Danielle or Tree, but that's not even Carter Prime. That's just a duplicate Carter, so it's not even really his own character development, and he still doesn't have any. He doesn't know that Darnell is a bad person by the end. He remains just as blind to this as he was in the beginning, or at the very least, that's why I can remember. It's been a few months since I've seen this movie, so give me some credit here, but, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Tree never tells him. I don't remember, really. I think that she, like, dangles it over Danielle a bit. I can't remember. I apologize. Like I said, it's been a few months since I've seen this one, but, Carter is still just a boring character, and I think it's a real shame that we didn't get to go into him a little bit more. Then there is Ryan. I am really glad with the character development that he's gotten here. We learn a whole lot more about him. Like, he's actually really good in science. He has a real passion for it. And he has now created a time loop / other dimension machine. That is awesome. To be fair, he didn't do it single-handedly. He had some help from his science buddies. But still, you can tell that this was mostly his invention. And I think that's really cool that we get to see a whole lot more to him here. I mean, I'm really for them expanding on characters who had such an insignificant role in the last movie, and I think that's really interesting and they decided to go further with that, and to me, Ryan is sort of the example that they can do that, and I hope that they will in the future, because I really like what they did with him. He's a likable character who also has a little bit of a paranoid and hysterical side to him, which I think is kind of interesting. So we really do get to go more into him, and I really like that. Then we got Lori. I'm also glad what they did with her. She actually develops. It's really weird to me, but I'm for it. Yeah, in the first movie, she was boring. Yeah, there wasn't really that much to her in the first movie. It's just she was the killer and she was against Tree because she couldn't be with Greg. And, like, it's not overly interesting. And honestly, it's kind of a dumb motivation to even kill somebody. But in this movie, we really get to go into that relationship, as in the other dimension, Lori actually is with Greg. And you can really sort of tell the strain that it has on her, as she sort of feels neglected by him, mostly because, well, he won't break things off with his wife, but she's also complacent in that, and she doesn't really do anything to try and get him to change that, or just break up with him or anything. It seems to be a bit of a toxic relationship, actually, and you can really tell how much it's affected her, but she's still a nice person. And I think this sort of goes into that in the first movie, there was actually one timeline where she didn't try to kill Tree. Yeah, ironically, it's the timeline where Tree figures out that she was trying to kill her, but yeah, in that timeline, Lori totally gave up on trying to kill Tree because she actually got an apology from her. And to me, that makes sort of her character in this movie all the more tragic. Tree sort of gets to realize that she wasn't a bad person, she just wanted an apology from her at the very least. And it was something that she never got in one timeline, and that's ultimately the one that became permanent. So she died because Tree never actually said that she was sorry for what she did to her, and I find that to be really interesting, and we get to see Tree actually sort of deal with what she actually did to her universe as Lori, but also get to understand this one's a whole lot more, and I really like that. We actually get to go into this character. I just sort of wish that we had done this a little bit more in the first movie, but still, I'm glad that we actually get to go into her a whole lot more, and it was really awesome to me. So then there's Tree. She hasn't really changed that much. She's still an awesome final girl, and I really enjoy her. Kind of a correction that I need to do for my first review of this, for my review of the first movie. Her name isn't Tree, it's Teresa. I apologize. I mean, I totally forgot that her name was Teresa in that movie. I'm sorry, but, yeah, because I, like, criticized her being called Tree, so I apologize for that. But, yeah, it's still a dumb nickname. Like, who calls someone Tree? Who comes up with these nicknames? Like, I mean, to be fair, it's quicker, but is Teresa really that hard or long to say? I mean, come on, just, like, seriously, it's not that bad of a name. Just call her Teresa. But yeah, Tree is a little bit quicker, so I guess I'll go with that. I mean, to me, it's just a weird name. Okay, it's a weird nickname. All right. But yeah, she's still a very likable character to me. However, in this one, we do get to go a little bit more into her mother, which we did get to go into a lot in the first movie, but now that her mother's actually there, we get to see the relationship a whole lot more, and we really do get to see her weigh what she has to lose as she goes back to her own dimension, and I liked that. But the thing that was kind of pushing her back to the other back to her own dimension was kind of dumb to me. Like, it's not the fact that she'll be replacing another person's life. It's that she won't have her boyfriend anymore. And I mean, just, okay, sure, that makes total sense there. To me, it's just dumb, alright? It's just dumb to me, alright? I mean, like, okay, yeah, I got she loves Carter and all, she loves all his generic boringness, but seriously, that's what's making you conflicted? Not the fact that you'll be taking over someone else's life, not the fact that you really don't know anything about this dimension or the life that one has had. No, it's instead your boyfriend won't like you anymore, or she even tries to steal Carter in this other dimension, so then, she can give herself a chance to like that one, and I'm sorry, that's just rude, alright? I mean, like, it's really uncalled for to her to me, and I mean, I get the reason why she's conflicted, but it just sort of feels contrived a little bit, and I mean, to be fair, she has shown to be a selfish character in the past. I mean, that sort of gives her a little bit more character, as it doesn't make her the perfect innocent final girl, like what's a cliche, which, by the way, a lot of final girls aren't so perfect and innocent and cliche. I just want to let you know, because, like, I'm just saying, there are a lot of final girls that aren't like that, and I'm getting back onto that tangent again. I'm gonna nip that one in the bud, but, yeah, so Tree she doesn't really develop that much in this one, and I would have liked it a little bit more if we sort of followed Ryan throughout the full movie, but as it is, she's still a very likable character, and I do enjoy her. So, yeah, like I said, this movie is a really good one. I think that it follows up on the first one very well as doing its own thing, which it does so in a way that's very unique and very much its own thing as well, and I really like the way that it went about it, and we get to go a whole lot more into this whole entire world in general. Like, we get to know more about these characters, we get to know about life on this campus, we just get to know more about it, and I can definitely see us doing that more in the future, as the tease for the third movie is awesome. Like, it's this group of, like, Tree, Carter, Ryan, Samara, Nardra, whatever her name is, and, like, they're all doing community service, because, you know, like, their machine kind of caused a big blackout and stuff, and the government approaches them. They approach Ryan, and they're just like, yeah, we heard about your machine. Let's test it out. So, of course, they all go there because, you know, Carter's such an expert on this. I seriously don't get why. But, like, I guess that he's just a part of this group now, and they're just like, well, he can come, I guess. Like, so why not? He really has no experience with this, okay? He has no experience with this other dimensional stuff. I'm just saying. He has no experience with the time loops, the other dimensions, none of it. At the very least, Samara and Anadra, they at least helped invent the machine. Carter was just there. So, like, seriously, I find Carter to be just so boring. So weird that he's so involved in this group. But, yeah, I mean, he's fine. Just, he's so bland. But, yeah, so they go to a government facility, and they are told that they should test this machine again. And they're going to do that on Danielle, and I think that that's just an awesome tease for the next movie, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see where they go with this franchise, but as is right now, I think it's really strong and has the potential to really be a great horror, comedy, science fiction franchise, and it's very much its own thing, and it's really fun in that regard. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. So, yeah, bye. What do you think that this movie is gonna be? Okay, I can't zoom in, but what do you think that this movie's gonna be like?
Maybe we'll reveal that Carter's the killer.
We still both think this.
Yes. They never trusted him.
He's too nice of a person, which is clearly a bad thing. As always.
Like, I thought for sure he was, like, especially at the end, like,
yeah.
when she was, like, in the room alone with him, and then it's, like, died.
Yeah, but it was like the poison cupcake.
Yeah, but I didn't know the cupcake was poisoned. I thought,
yeah.
Like, oh my god, he killed me.
Yeah, he put poison on his lips or something. That's what he did, 100%.
Although he did die, I think, in 2 timelines to the last one.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was just one.
Oh.
I just rewatched it. I should know. But I forgot already. It's amazing.
Wow.
So, yeah. You cannot get a good shot. Yeah, I'm just gonna walk over to it. Boom, there it is. Yeah, I gave myself some time there. So, yeah, are you excited for it?
Yeah.
Okay, then. So this theater is completely empty, just like the last one of these movies that we saw. So this is kind of impressive that in 2 years nothing has changed. Alright, so now we got dramatic lighting from a flashlight. So what do you think of this
It
movie?
was pretty good. Like, so he still wasn't the killer.
Yeah, I know, right? And he had perfect motivation this time. What the fuck? But he had perfect motivation this time. Yeah.
Friend.
I mean, he had perfect motivation. Darnell was cheating on him. They could have played around with that.
Yeah,
They could have been like, that's why he did. Why is this turning off?
I could have been like, because he's a psychopath.
Yeah, like, or at the very least, he was pushed to being a psychopath by the evil Darnell.
You could turn into a psychopath, right?
Yeah.
Or he turned into one like he's just like a generic nice boyfriend character.
I know, right?
I don't like it.
Something needs to be done with him in the third one, which will be happening, now we know. A third one with government involvement. Yeah, make him evil. I want to see that.
Psychopath Carter.
Mm-hmm. But so yeah, what'd you think of it?
The doctor guy was the killer.
Yep.
I wanted divorce.
Bang! Bit extreme, honestly. I'm just saying, but you know, I mean, I guess it was a divorce technically.
To death do us apart.
Yep. But what'd you think? Yeah,
It was pretty good. Like, what do you think?
I enjoyed it.
I liked it.
To be fair, though, I did just watch them back to back, so yeah.
Which one do you like better?
I think this one a little bit more.
I haven't seen the first since I saw it in theaters, so.
Oh yeah. Huh.
And
I've seen it 3 times
I need
now.
to see it again.
I've seen it 3 times now. Once in the theater, once on TV, and once on a pirating site.
R.
Alright. You can't even see it, but it fell in popcorn. Well, what's left of it anyway.
my brother